Welcome to 50 Ways to Succeed at Work, where you hear stuff about ways to succeed even the most well-intentioned colleagues, advisors, careers officers and HR departments may never get around to mentioning. This is episode 18, Toxic Turnoff, dealing with difficult work colleagues. It seems a sensible idea. Hire Tiffany with high-level business skills, which are mainly missing in the young organisation. The interview panel seems agreed.
I say we take a risk and recruit her.
She's counterculture, but she seems just what we need.
It'll be an interesting hire. Let's see how it works out.
It takes 3 months before reality hits home. Disenchanted colleagues brand her Toxic Tiffany.
Tiffany knows her stuff business-wise, but she doesn't really seem able to work with the senior team.
Yes, it's not just that she's often rude and insensitive, but she's also negatively affecting others. For example, by denigrating others' efforts.
That's true. When a team meets, discusses an issue, and decides, Tiffany then goes and holds separate meetings, bad-mouthing the agreed actions and saying things like, "I'm not going to support that decision."
One of her early mistakes was crossing Brandon, an influential but easygoing team member. A confident person, he was shocked when she dismissed his ideas in a meeting in language that showed her contempt for him. Unlike her colleagues, Brandon would not take this lying down. He made an appointment to see Tiffany and came straight to the point.
Tiffany, I will die at the barricades for your right to critique my ideas, but I'll be frank with you. If you ever talk to me like that again, we will be at war with one another.
Tiffany blanches, realizing she's made a dangerous enemy. From then on, she's careful to avoid speaking about him publicly. Yet this doesn't stop her from running him down when he's not around. Toxic Tiffany has no time for even her most senior colleagues. She tells one that he's a waste of space and accuses another of being hard to work with. It's as if Tiffany has a death wish. No one is surprised, only relieved, when Toxic Tiffany is finally asked to leave. You may encounter one or more toxic individuals in your search for success at work. You need to know how best to deal with a destructive person who may be doing nothing illegal, yet be hard to neutralize. People at work have 3 main questions about toxic colleagues. One is, how do I deal with a toxic colleague at work? Another is, how do I stay calm and not get stressed by a toxic colleague? And the third one is, what can I do when this person invades my personal space and makes me feel vulnerable? Toxic colleagues are rude, disrespectful, confronting and aggressive. Habitually, they blame others for their mistakes and act like they know everything. Such people frequently use sarcasm and ridicule to tear down others. They may be controlling, using negative body language and gestures. Some practical ways you can deal with them can be, don't take it personally. You're probably not the reason for the behavior. However, you could be the person they're taking out their frustrations on, but that doesn't mean you should put up with it. Learn about them. What can you discover that might explain their antisocial behavior? Don't assume they're evil. Understand what's happening with them. Unless you can understand their situation, it's hard to either feel sympathy or arrive at an effective counter-strategy. Talking it out. Bring the issue into the open. You don't have to stay passive. Instead, establish boundaries that make your expectations apparent. Just remember that you can't change the other person's personality. You can call them out on specific behaviors. For example, if you're interrupted, be proactive and say, I was talking and you interrupted. I'm going to finish what I had to say. Talk to your superiors. Well, this can be a last resort strategy rather than the first attempt to remedy the problem. And apply a healthy dose of empathy. One of the most effective ways is to acknowledge their distress. If they're fixated on a particular issue, it can indicate psychological distress. Showing you understand their feelings can open a door to change, either in you or them. Finally, highlight their work. Toxicity can be a sign of insecurity. By giving your co-worker credit or highlighting something they've done, you may add something positive to their life, which could reduce their toxicity. You may also make an unexpected friend. The next question people have is, how do I stay calm and not get stressed by a toxic colleague? Well, develop your coping strategies. In particular, focus on your work to help you stay calm and avoid getting emotionally involved. Another way is to ignore them or to be too busy to engage with them. Give as good as you get and seek allies at work to tackle the issue. After an encounter with a toxic person, take a break from work for a few hours, or quite simply, get some fresh air. If you feel your co-worker is making your life miserable, remember the positive aspects of the workplace and focus on these things. One of the most significant impacts of toxic colleagues is that they spread negativity. This can be contagious, affecting not just you, but your entire team. One way of coping is to invite your team leader to discuss the situation. Resist the temptation to complain about the toxic person. Venting to other people and trying to get them to confirm your beliefs isn't healthy. Focus instead on controlling yourself, not anyone else. Hoping your co-worker will become a team player or hoping they'll change departments wastes your valuable resources of time and mental energy. And the final question people have is, what can I do when this person invades my personal space and makes me feel vulnerable? Be aware that cultural differences and expectations can explain why someone does this. Being tactile or physically intrusive in one culture can be regarded as friendly and supportive elsewhere. It's down to you to establish healthy boundaries that make clear your expectations. If you feel invaded, be upfront and explain, I need more physical space right now, and deliberately step away. Step back when someone gets too close. Adjust to provide yourself with more space. If they advance and re-invade, either take a step back or raise the issue that concerns you. For example, let the person know verbally that they're too close. State what you need without blame or defensiveness. Hold up a hand like a stop sign so that your verbal and non-verbal communications align. You may even say, I can't look you in the eye when you're that close, or I need space to think. Give the other person the benefit of the doubt and expect a positive reaction. Be proactive non-verbally. For example, if you're more comfortable with a handshake than a hug, greet people with an outstretched hand. If you'd rather not touch, greet with a welcoming smile. Hold your hands up and say, I'm taking a break from handshakes and hugs for the moment. As a last resort, stand behind a table, desk or chair, cross your arms or put your hands on your hips. So what action am I proposing? Well, first of all, examine your behaviour before blaming the other person. Avoid letting it become personal and keeping it strictly professional. Communicate tactfully the issues that you're having with this person, while reminding yourself of what you can gain by working with them. And finally, ask a senior person for assistance. Sometimes you can't solve a problem without help. And my takeaway from all of this? Every workplace has its toxic colleagues. No need to fall victim of them if you develop a strategy for action. You've been listening to an episode of Andrew's 50 Ways to Succeed at Work. For more episodes, subscribe free to my regular weekly podcasts. You can catch up on past ones at the 50ways.site, where you can also become a foundation member with access to e-learning units, further reading links, and the forum, where you can ask questions, share problems, and join a growing community of people who seriously want to succeed at work. Now there's a new book and an audio version called, you guessed it, 50 Ways to Succeed at Work. Buy it at Amazon or the 50ways.site. Unmissable. Thanks for listening, and bye for now until next week.